Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Artist Info session on behalf of the Lower Hill Redevelopment team. I'm Dr. Kimberly Ellis, and I am Director of Community Arts and Culture. This is our first full public session directly to the public about the artist opportunities on the Lower Hill Development site, and we're excited to be here. I'm being joined by Craig Dunham. Hi, Craig, and LaKeisha Byrd. And we will have information also on behalf of Terry Baltimore and Walter Hood from the curtain call. All right, so I just want to welcome you tonight, and this meeting is being recorded, so if you happen to miss any part of this this session, it will be up on our website, lowerhillredevelopment.com. We're also on Facebook, we're also on Instagram and Twitter, okay, and also on YouTube. So welcome and thank you very much for coming. And basically one of the things that we wanted to really stress is that this is a very large redevelopment project. We are only in phase one. In fact, we're literally on the First National Bank tower, which is a 26 tower, $230 million project that stretches over into basically blocks what they're called G1 and then G4. And G4 is considered the urban open space. And we're doing something very creative on the urban open space, which is infusing the art the same way that we did for the CAP project, which is across the street of Washington Place on Center Avenue. And that park will be open in November. And so with all the different hearings, all the different passages that we've gone through, we want to just show you what is available now, and then also give you a vision for the future for what is to come. All right. So next up, we're going to talk about the master plan and activation with Craig Dunham first, and then we'll move on to the activation part. So Craig.
Great, thank you, Dr. Ellis. My name's Craig Dunham, and I've been involved in this project for a number of years now, supporting the Penguins and now BPG and advancing their efforts. And what I thought I'd do is spend a couple minutes orienting the master plan for the project to frame it with the different elements of open space. And then when we talk more specifically about the immediate opportunities there in the context of the larger project. The plan of record, it was prepared in 2014. It's up on the upper left-hand corner. We refer to this as the preliminary land development plan. And since then, we've gone through a couple of iterations of master plan visions. We worked with the design firm Bjarke Ingels Group in 2015, and they really led us to some insights in the interconnectedness and the power of interconnectedness in open spaces as a pathway and as a center of the development site and a network of pathways up the hill from the CAP project, which was just beginning to be realized at that time up into the lower, middle, and upper hill along Wiley. In 2019, we started working with Gensler and their planning team and built on the idea of sort of the centrality of Wiley Avenue and organizing the buildings and open spaces around that. And then today we're advancing the project through a variety of parcels or individual pieces. Dr. Ellis talked about the G1, which is up at the corner of Washington Place and Bedford, the office building project, and along with that becomes the first piece of open space here on G4. We apologize for the nomenclature. It's the way that we're referring to projects and sites as they advance through the formal process of approvals. The next slide is sort of our latest vision for those open spaces, beginning with the CAP project to the left, bridging over I-579, Washington Place, has the potential to have some improvements to make it a safer, more inviting, pedestrian-friendly street with some intersection and median changes. Then the lower block, which is bounded by Washington Center, Logan, and Bedford, anchored by the office tower and the open space at the center of that. Moving up Wiley, we have some open space planned in the center of the site, which we refer to as the D block. I'll show you a picture of that. And then moving up further towards Crawford, along Wiley, we're proposing about 1 acre of open space that is a series of pathways, terraces, and is now the proposed location for the curtain call project. A little closer view of the lower portion of the site that we'll be talking more specifically in a minute about opportunities for artworks. The office tower, a series of ramps and steps and pathways leading to a central lawn, some places for kiosks and vendors to come and be part of the project, some steps that take us to another terrace up to Logan Street, and we have 2 more building sites that are surrounding that area. To the right, towards Center Avenue, is a very large open space planned that goes from Washington Place all the way up to Logan. Is a series of steps and ramps and another central open area, another lawn connecting to the first lawn that we're creating with G4, an amphitheater, a series of steps and ramps, and another terrace up off of Logan Street. So when all of this is done, you've got a system of pathways leading from the cap, crossing Washington Place, leading you up the hill to the next main street of Logan, and a variety of small and large spaces for congregation and events. The next block up is, we refer to as D. It's between Logan and Fullerton, facing Wiley. Center Avenue is off to the right. This is a little bit flatter. It's at the center of the site, and we're really thinking of this as a large plaza that could support festivals, marketplaces, lots of kiosks, lots of small business opportunities, sort of the center of retail and commerce in the site, and playing off of the flatter, more level center of the site. Moving up, again, Fullerton Street, Crawford Street at the top of the development site leading into Crawford Roberts neighborhood. We envision this lower portion as sort of a community open space with gathering areas, lawns for play, a couple of playgrounds for maybe 2 to 6-year-old and 6 to 12-year-old, and family activities in the center of the site. And then at the midpoint, between what we propose and plan as 2 residential buildings, probably apartment buildings, is an access point off of Wiley. And then we we continue the pathway up the hill through garden areas, landscaping, and then we begin the curtain call garden passageway artwork, which we'll describe in a second, that leads us all the way up to Crawford Street. And it's a series of sort of sinuous bending pathways, accessible in through the curtain call elements leading up to a plaza at Crawford Street. LaKeisha can talk now about sort of why we're doing this and the activities that we see happening in these different spaces.
Yeah. Yep, I can jump in. My name is LaKeisha Byrd, working with the Lower Hill BPG development team, specifically to extend the design scope and really consider the activation and programming strategies that will play a major role in what actually happens in space. How do we bring life to this space? Over the last few slides that Craig just walked us through, we really started to look at this Wiley Avenue core, the spine that connects through the core of the site, starting up at Crawford and weaving its way down to the Great Lawn space and all the way down to Washington Place. The idea is that we want to create an environment that lives beyond the office tower, which is the building at the top left corner below Community Chest. That's going to be a major office tower, which is going to bring a wealth of opportunity. But we want to ensure that the site can support activities and uses in the evenings, on weekends, and we want this to be a year-round experience, recognizing that we live in Pittsburgh, where it can be cold for a good portion of the year. We want to ensure that we still have outdoor spaces to support that. So what we're showing here is just a few demonstrations of different type of activities that can be supported through both the infrastructure as well as the design elements that are woven into the site. So for example, we spoke about Logan Street, which is the street running north to south in the center of the site, if you will. And that street we're considering like this festival street, and can support mobile food business opportunities, food trucks specifically, something as soon as the start of construction, but it can also live beyond that and be a part of just the culture of the Lower Hill site. And then also, if we can highlight where the Great Lawn is, this open space, anytime we have these flexible open spaces, and the Great Lawn will have basically a flat site, it gives us an opportunity to have large gatherings, morning gatherings. So we're showing this opportunity where we can do yoga on a lawn, or we can set up like almost like pop-up tents or things like that. But there's also other opportunities. So, and I think we'll touch on it even more as we go through, but we have different areas that kind of create different moments and different opportunities. Just because the site has different elevation points, we're really trying to capture these different moments. So some of the other uses that we're also calling out is the opportunity to have, again, there's this office hour, so we can do these lunchtime concerts, but that just as well could be supported at nighttime or on weekends. And you can also look at it from a seasonal perspective. If we go to the next slide, very similar concept. We're just really showing and demonstrating how the intent of the design and the infrastructure is to really create a space that can be experienced year-round, night and day, on the weekends, and really trying to understand what can happen on site. So as I mentioned, this idea of these night markets, we talked about the kiosks that would be clustered throughout the site, not just at the Great Lawn, but we see that living along the Wiley Avenue spine, and will be a great opportunity for small businesses, and it has a direct presence directly on the street. So great visibility, lower barriers to entry, and just more flexible use, if you will. And then also, we've already mentioned the Great Lawn, but again, just the flexibility of being able to offer different type of youth activities, concerts, movies on the lawns, and really just pulling in some of the existing things that you might see in some of the other neighborhoods, and just being able to create a space where we can offer that here in the Hill District. Yes, if we can go to the next slide. Okay. Craig, I don't know if you want to jump back in.
Sure, thank you. So as we mentioned,
can we pause here just for 1 second?
You bet.
Messages that people cannot get into the link. So I'm just wondering if there's anybody that just joined that saw the link. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I see some people. Okay, that they're in of those who contacted me. So let's keep moving. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So as we mentioned at the beginning, Terry Baltimore was going to be joining us, and unfortunately her father's experiencing some medical issues, so she's with him. And Sarita Schreiber from the Hood Studios, Hood Design, is with me to support this discussion. And Walter Hood unfortunately wasn't able to join us today due to some conflicts. So I'll try to frame what's happening. The image that's up on the screen is a rendering created by Hood Design, I believe probably in 2009, as part of the original proposal for the Curtain Call Garden Passageway project, which was a public art initiative advanced at the time the arena project was beginning. And I think the way that Walter has communicated the idea is a series of rooms that embrace a passageway that works its way up the hill. This was originally at 5th Avenue up to Center Avenue. and is composed of metal screens with images suspended between the screens that are images from the community that tell the story of the hill, and are encompassed or accompanied by music that's activated within the rooms that is about a garden and I believe rain themes. And they also have a strong landscaping component with stormwater systems as an aspect of them. So many of you that may have followed this project for a number of years, it's had fits and starts. And once we saw the sort of evolution of the master plans that I shared with you and the way that the open spaces were being created and envisioned, thought that the curtain call would probably be better suited in that network of spaces rather than in the original location next to the arena. We reached out to Walter in late 2019 and talked about that idea, and he seemed receptive. We started in February of 2020, exploring it more formally. We all know what happened in March of 2020, and we put our pencils down. And now that the momentum is picked up on the project with the FNB tower, we felt it appropriate, and hopefully we're on the other side of the pandemic. We felt it appropriate to re-engage, and Walter has recommitted his relationship with Terry Baltimore to support the effort locally with the collection of images. And so now we're back into revisualizing and recreating the space on the new location at the top of the site at Wiley and Crawford. The images are a really important aspect of this project, and I think at the beginning of the gathering involved going to a lot of archives that are available within the city to find images that tell the story of the history of the site, from the Carnegie Library and the Frick archives. And then there was an outreach for more contemporary images. These are certainly not today, but beginning to tell the whole history of the hill. And where we are today is a desire to capture images truly of today, and making available points of contact. I think the idea is a site that will be created by Hood Design and Terry Baltimore, where images can be uploaded. Recently, the First Source Center opened at the former Hill House that will be available to drop off images that can be scanned. The hours of the Hill House are Tuesdays and Thursdays and Wednesday. And then there'll also be an opportunity at different events that are coming up, certainly within the next couple of months, in the Hill, with the opportunity to share images that can be compiled and part of the project as it gets advanced in the coming year. Sarita, you want to add anything that I may have missed from your perspective?
Yeah, you've covered really everything
poetically as Walter does, but I tried.
No, you did a great job of covering everything. I would just stress that we are looking to collect about 800 more images. So together with all of the community outreach events and the dedicated scanner on site, we hope to collect more contemporary and more historical photography to include in the curtain call structure. And I would just say that we are examining and responding to the new site conditions. And we are also investigating different ways we're beginning to take note of everything that's come in so far in terms of photography, and beginning to think about how to compose those into larger graphics that can then start to infill the curtain call structure and to make them truly enclosures where one can look upon site's history. So that's kind of where we are now.
So we'll use the broadcasting mechanism that was for this meeting to make folks aware of the sites that are available for uploading images.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to stress is that we're collecting images at the First Source Center, which is our one-stop shop being sponsored by the Lower Hill Development Team for jobs and opportunities and training, not just for the Lower Hill, but also for anything that comes through our center with our partners and other interested parties. So we are literally the first stop. We're the first source for our partners to find people for working in jobs and training and opportunities. And so the First Source Center is located inside of the Hill House, and the hours for the First Source Center specifically are 10 to 3:30 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and on Wednesdays from 10 to 8 p.m. Those are the hours for now. And so although Terry's not here, there will be an intern that will be assigned to take care of the scanning of the images. And we will also have a digital submission on our website at lowerhillredevelopment.com. It's not presently available, but it will be there when it's time to start collecting. And as Sarita said, we're looking for 800 more images. So that's a lot of images, and we're looking forward to you all participating. Yeah. So let me move on to the importance of art in our project. I want to thank Charlotte and Mobutu Ka for their support of the First Source Center grand opening, as well as Dawn Surgis. This picture here are the two elements of art that flanked the First Source Center grand opening stage. These are very high level artistic pieces and really of the quality that should go into the First National Bank Tower. So we really thank Charlotte and Mobutu for loaning them to us for the First Source Center grand opening. And that is actually Dawn standing in front of the painting, although that's not her texture design, but we want to thank her too for her participation and for bringing her texture design as well. Let's move on to the next slide. On the left side, we want to thank Norman Brown. He submitted 2 prints for us to start off our display at the First Source Center. And so both of those prints are actually in the intake room and in the conference room. So we look forward to you all seeing those pictures when you come in, and we really like them, and we think that they exemplify what the ideas of the First Source Center. So we like that. And then also on the right side, that's actually, you're looking at the back of Chris Bocchini, who's our co-president of Bocchini Poland Group, as well as Amici Aka, who is the CEO of Clay Cove Capital, our investment group. And the reason why these 2 pictures are included is because we're actually in the old Pittsburgh Artists Institute, which is now the URA building. All right, and so this is a piece from Charlotte and Mobutu Ka, and the URA already owns this piece, and this is in that building. And so this picture is included to show that when the First National Bank Tower opens up, there will be room and space for art to go into every one of those offices that will be present in that 26 tower space. And so this is just an example of that. And the picture on the prints on the left, they're like a lot cheaper than the actual acrylic and image that you see on the right, but we have all kinds. And so if you are thinking about painting something, if you are thinking about making your grand design, now's the time to do it. The First National Bank Tower will not be open until 3 years from now. So now's the time to start getting your ideas together and start painting and putting together your ideas. So take advantage of these opportunities. All right. So I just wanted to thank you very much, Charlotte and Mabutu Ka. Thank you very much, Dawn Surgis, and thank you very much, Norman Brown. And also, we do have space for more art, so I will be in touch with you all. And I want to see what you have. All right. And we're also going to be at the Hill District Community Day on August 21st. So be on the lookout for the Lower Hill team when we're there as well. All right, next slide. So the Cap Park, which you saw in Craig Dunham's presentation on the master plan, the Cap Park is being built and will open in November. And so you'll get a chance to see your tour guide, and your tour guide is this little girl here named Keisha. And Keisha is like an ever-present image and spirit throughout the site, and she represents the 21st century. She holds on to her history very well. For example, in the upper left corner, she's actually reading a book by Harriet Tubman and about Martin Delany and Harriet Tubman. There she is with her earphones on, and she loves her music, and she's, you know, paying attention to all the people that inspire her. And there she is leaping and, and having fun in the lower left corner. And then in the right corner, she's more meditative. And even though it's something small, in the upper right corner of that picture is the North Star. And it's just a way to mark that this is not only a space, a spot on the Underground Railroad, it's a place for contemplation and also how we mix our history and our future together. And Keisha is important because she's going to be transferred over into the urban open space as well. She just captured everybody's heart, and people really love Keisha. So I wanted to show you these images, and we'll move on to the next slide. So Keisha is being transferred over from the Cap Park on the left here into these blue dots that you see there, and then you see Keisha she's very small, but she's present there on the lower left of the images. Yeah, there. And so she's placed on basically these aluminum plinths, and they're very large, and you know, so people really enjoy her, and she's there to welcome you at different parts of the park. So we're talking about cultural presence here. We're talking about placemaking. We're talking about the variety of different ways that artists can infuse themselves into the urban open space and into these plans and up Wiley Avenue. And that's why these are very important. We are going to do a call for artists. We have identified several different places where artists can literally be a part of the actual landscape, not after the fact, not an afterthought, but actually built into the built environment. And so LaKeisha already went over different aspects of activation, but case in point, having a metal art screen is important. We have seating plinths. The seating is really important where we are. And in the next slide, I'll show you some other locations. Let's go back one time. So the other part about this particular site is that we're going to have retail kiosks. And these are pop-up opportunities where artists, entrepreneurs can sell their wares and engage and take full advantage of the much larger footprint that we're going to have on this site. And we encourage everyone to, you know, bring their wares and to sell out, you know, when they take advantage of the retail kiosks. Everybody has seen that there's a great amount of economic advantage to having a retail kiosk, because if you are an artist, if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have to worry about the overhead. You don't have to worry about literally paying mortgage for a permanent space. And as I said before, you take advantage of a much, much larger footprint on this site because this is a mixed use, both office and residential area that will be in the Lower Hill redevelopment. All right. Now let's move on. So in terms of the artists infusing themselves into the actual built environment, this is an image of different pavers that exist, and how, like, literally you can put your literal stamp onto the concrete, onto the artist pavers. So this is just one example. Let's look at some more examples. These are just other examples of public art that we wanted to show you. Some are small to medium, some are a little bit larger. Now, Curtain Call is our major large public art piece. So we're not going to have a piece, you know, that's that large anymore on the site, but all the other pieces will be small to medium and directly in the built environment. So we want to encourage you all to participate. And we don't know what you're going to come up with. You'll be guided, of course, but we don't know exactly what you're going to come up with. So we're just giving you examples of ideas of what people have done in the past. And these are examples of larger public art pieces, but we hope that they inspire you to be creative. And, you know, literally the world is your oyster, and we look forward to working with you as we map out these plans. Speaking of maps, this is the map that we have. So everywhere you see a little square and an arrow, these are all artist opportunity spaces, okay? So literally from the fabric structure here to sculptures along the stairs, these yellow, little yellow circles are present. Where the overlook is, that little, this space that looks like the Facebook icon, that's actually wooden seating, the plinth that we were talking about. There's space in the overlook to actually put public art and to, you know, create placemaking. And so even though this seems very abstract, know that art and the existence of art and the placemaking that we have is being thought about from the very, very beginning. You are not an afterthought. And so I'm really happy that Pittsburgh overall is taking more care with regard to public art, and so are we on this project on the Lower Hill. The more boring aspect is when we get into the description of each part. So this is what it looks like. You have opportunity 1, the sculpture garden, opportunity 2, the overlook stage, opportunity 3, the sculpture walk, opportunity 4, the overlook wall. Let's move on. The opportunity 5, the artist tables, 6, the artist pavers, 7, the suspended art screen, and 8, the shade structure. So these are just examples of the type of art that we need and that we have available, and that will be in the call for artists. We're not exactly prepared to put out the actual call for artists because each of these have to be attached to some more details. But for right now, these are the beginning details that we have, and we just wanted to get you excited and knowledgeable in terms of what is coming. You're going to get some more specifics, and I'm going to let LaKeisha Byrd talk about some of those specifics as well before we move on to close in our questions and answers. LaKeisha, do you want to say something about the specifics here?
Yeah, sure, I can add to it. I mean, I think you captured it well, Dr. Ellis. If I can just quantify, basically between the map that I think was on the previous slide and then the artist opportunities, all of this information will be included in the call for artists when it is put out publicly. So you'll have that for reference. What we're really trying to demonstrate is that we, you know, in the design process, we've already started to identify where there is an opportunity for that extra layer of creativity and opportunity, and we're designing it into the landscape, and we're calling out those squares, I guess you could say. We're calling out where those different opportunities are, and as you can see with this map, it's just really illustrating with the G1 and G4 parcel, which is where the bank tower is, and that open space that's directly adjacent. There's different opportunities throughout the site at different elevation points. So you can imagine that there will be these unique experiences that will be that will happen as you're moving through the site. And you can think about that there's a great opportunity for different type of artists, just really acknowledging that the wealth of artistry is diverse. And I think you can jump in, Dr. Ellis, but I think the idea is that we want to engage people who have different backgrounds in the art field, and there's opportunities for different artist elements and opportunities, if you will. And then in the following slides, we don't have to go too far in depth, but we were just letting you know. If you go to the next slide, yeah, this information will be included. The final information will be included in the call for artists when it is sent out, and it will provide a little bit more context about what that opportunity is, some of the site and surface information, just to provide a little bit more detail, some of the dimensions and things that will just give you a little bit more context as an artist. And again, Dr. Ellis had already covered this, but just to reiterate, we're looking at everything from table surfaces. We're creating an outdoor space, so we know we're going to have tables, but do they have to be just, your average table, or is an opportunity for engraving? There's going to be structures on site that provide shade, but there might be an opportunity for us to be very creative in how we think about, that structures, and we kind of outline different opportunities, even from the ground plane. So the artist pavers, these are those pavers in the ground where there's a wealth of different opportunities for graphics, engraving, visuals, etc. So that, I think beyond what you already mentioned, Dr. Ellis,
yeah,
I think that captures it well.
That's good. Thank you very much. And so this is the overview of the site. This is a $1.5 billion project. It's going to take at least 10 years to complete. The first phase, the F&B Tower, which is that large building right there at the tip of the development, that is our anchor story tower. It's a 26-story tower. The urban open space is right in front, as you can see. And I know it looks really, really small, but it's actually very large. And we sweep right up Wiley Avenue. And there are a ton of artist opportunities. And remember that Wiley and Crawford is where the curtain call begins. And so there's a whole host of opportunities available for artists and vendors. And basically you're going to see Live Nation is coming. There are going to be other developments on this site. And as you see, there's also a residential area. So this basically this Lower Hill redevelopment site is going to be, a part of the Lower Hill neighborhood. And it's going to add a lot of people, a lot of offices, and a lot of footprint and a lot of opportunities for you all. So we're really excited, and we hope that you are excited. This just serves as our introduction to what the opportunities are. And so as you all saw, we started off, just talking about the Lower Hill redevelopment opportunities. We make sure that you get in touch at lowerhillredevelopment.com. If you're an artist, please do go to the site and click on the artist page. You can put your information in. When we're ready to put out the call for artists, you will be the first persons to know exactly what is happening. And we talked about the curtain call. We talked about the images being collected at the First Source Center and also online. So once again, if you sign up on the artist page, you'll know exactly when we're prepared to start collecting these images. Well, we'll really be prepared immediately in terms of the physical images. And so now it's time to answer any questions any of you might have about the site, about other opportunities, about the retail kiosks, about anything that you see here on the screen. So we will open that up. And if you have a question, maybe put it in the chat or raise your hand and we will get to you. Any questions about the Lower Hill redevelopment site and the artist opportunities we discussed today? I'm going to give you all another minute. Yeah, so just as a reminder, we're at lowerhillredevelopment.com. We also have a Lower Hill redevelopment page on Facebook. We are also on Twitter at Lower Hill Redev, as well as Instagram at Lower Hill Redev, and on YouTube. So we are everywhere you want to be and more. We've also recorded this session, so we will post this session on the website and in other places. So you'll have an opportunity to get even more information. But as I said, this was just to make sure that we engage with you all, gave you the information that you may have been hearing about and didn't quite know exactly what was going on and what we have available. Having said that, if there are no other questions, we can stop here. And I want to thank you all very much for coming and being here. And we look forward to seeing you sometime in the future. Thank you so much.
Okay, well.